They aimed for the stars, but tragically found only the ocean floor. OceanGate, shrouded in dreams of wonder that ended in catastrophe. Its visionary founder on a mission to discover the deep through innovative submersibles. But his ambitions imploded 3,000 meters down, turning fantasy to tragedy in an instant. How did OceanGate's aspirations turn into disaster? Why did their leading vessel, Titan, break apart just when success seemed imminent? The answers lie in its fatal final voyage into the abyss, but also in the red flags on the surface that hinted at the impending catastrophe. Join me today as we dive into the dark truths behind OceanGate's ambitions, to explore how drive and daring transformed to debris in a horrific instant half a mile down. This is the inside story you haven't heard about, the disasters that doomed the submersible and its crew over 2 miles under the sea. OceanGate, a company shrouded in both wonder and tragedy. Its visionary founder, Stockton Rush, sought to open up the mysteries of the deep through innovative submersible technology. But his ambitious dreams ended in catastrophe when the Titan imploded during a fatal voyage in 2023. How did OceanGate come to be? What drove its founder to push the boundaries of undersea access? And what ultimately led to the tragedy that doomed the Titan crew? The answers lie in the origins of this fateful company and the life of the man behind its creation. The early inspirations of Stockton Rush. Stockton Rush came from a wealthy San Francisco family, born in 1962 as the youngest of 5 children. From childhood, he dreamed big, longing to become an astronaut, even hoping to be the first person on Mars. His youthful imagination looked upward to the skies and outward into space, but 2 deep passions took root that would ultimately turn his vision toward the hidden worlds beneath the ocean waves. First came scuba diving. Rush took up the sport at just 12 years old, spending hours exploring the mysterious realms accessible only to those with an air tank on their backs. Through tiny diving masks, these underwater domains tantalized his young mind, offering glimpses of the alien beauty in Earth's oceans. His other early love? Aviation. By 18, Rush gained his commercial pilot's license, though his dreams of military flights would be hindered by limitations to his eyesight over time. Still, his ability to defy gravity buoyed his confidence and eagerness for exploration. From Exeter to Princeton, charting an unconventional course. Rush's privileged upbringing enabled enrollment at the prestigious Phillips Exeter Academy, where he graduated in 1980. He then obtained a Bachelor's of Science in Aerospace Engineering from Princeton in 1984. One might expect someone of Rush's background to be content resting on the laurels of wealth and Ivy League access. But he could not silence the siren call of innovation and adventure. So where did the ocean first captivate his imagination? Perhaps in the waters of his youth off Northern Carolina's rugged and beautiful coasts. Or maybe it echoed from his genetic past, as Rush descended from famous ocean explorer Benjamin Rush, a signer of the Declaration of Independence generations prior. Regardless, by adulthood, the realm beneath the waves had stoked an insatiable curiosity within Stockton Rush, and his engineering mind would not rest until he uncovered its secrets. Early career, testing the boundaries. His Princeton aerospace degree landed Rush an early job as a test flight engineer for the F-15 fighter jet program at McDonnell Douglas. It seemed a perfect blend of cutting-edge technology with daring exploration. But the corporate world could not contain Rush's unconventional dreams for long. After a brief tenure capped with an MBA from Berkeley, he leapt into work as a venture capitalist seeking to fund the innovations of others. When technology investment ran its course, Rush migrated to the Pacific Northwest by the early 90s to run a tech firm based in Washington state. The lure of the ocean's depths. Rush had continued scuba diving in the emerald waters of Puget Sound as a hobby, but by his early 40s, he longed to access domains below the reach of any human lung's limits. In 2006, his imagination ignited anew after a ride aboard a private submarine off British Columbia. Rush became entranced with the notion of owning such a vessel himself, but he discovered fewer than 100 of such craft existed worldwide, with little access for purchase. Ever the engineer, Rush decided to construct his own. Employing plans from a retired Navy submarine commander, he built a 4-meter manually powered craft able to dive just 10 meters down. Hardly a pioneer of ocean depths, but enough to rekindle his passion for probing the silent world beneath the waves. Now obsessed with piercing the veil into the hidden three-dimensional realm miles down, Rush sought access to true deep-diving vehicles, even attempting to acquire famed explorer Steve Fawcett's mini-sub after his death. But regulations and lack of availability hampered Rush's dream of buying a vessel to access the mesmerizing abyss. The genesis of OceanGate. If Stockton Rush could not acquire the technology to uncover Earth's undersea secrets, he would endeavor to build it. Teaming with the entrepreneur Guillermo Solane in 2009, OceanGate Submarines was born. Rush's vision? To pioneer privately owned and operated submersibles to take tourists, researchers, and explorers to the lightless domain far below the reach of divers. Unlike the competitive environment of space tourism, Rush believed undersea access remained untapped by commercial interest, hampered only by unwarranted fears of over-risk. From a fateful first glimpse of British Columbia's alien beauty from only 150 feet down, OceanGate now aimed to open Earth's hidden ocean realm to all. To turn unfounded notions of subsea danger on their head through engineered safety features, and ultimately to enable manned underwater reach unimagined outside the military domain. OceanGate's early days of experimentation. The nascent company took its first steps on the ocean tourism venture by acquiring a used 5-person submersible named Antipodes in 2009. Through 2010, they began their first dives transporting the fare-paying passenger groups to see the alien beauty off Santa Catalina Island. Even in these early experimental days, Rush's innovative approach sought to take undersea access in uncharted directions. By bringing marine biologists aboard dives, tourist writers gained expert insight on the exotic species visible through portholes, spurring passion for conversation in OceanGate's early citizen scientist patrons. Over the next few years, OceanGate conducted an estimated 130 safe dives with Antipodes, all the while further refining operations, training crews, understanding maintenance demands, and testing the boundaries of commercial tourism access to the depths. They expanded operations to Florida by 2012, teaming with local research institutes to assist investigations of lionfish infestation and artificial reef surveys. And back in Puget Sound, the stalwart sub facilitated mapping efforts of long-lost regional shipwrecks. Through it all, Rush pushed his teams for maximum access and exploration, exposing would-be aquanauts to the ethereal beauty of the deep seascape, setting the stage for his eventual drive toward the edges of manned reach. Toward titanium innovation, a new era begins. By 2013, over 120 safe piloted missions had demonstrated proof of concept. Manned commercial tourism to the ocean depths was no fantasy. Yet Stockton Rush now envisioned far more. He sought to build better submersibles than the mere retrofit Antipodes, to engineer futuristic vessels specifically for reliable and frequent passenger access. Equipped for longer missions, innovative designs, improved viewing, nimble maneuverability, and advanced technologies over any commercially operated craft before them. So, as co-founder Solane departed in 2013, Rush pivoted OceanGate toward a new technological era, to design and construct its own state-of-the-art manned submersibles for the deepest tourist access ever commercially attempted. First came the 2015 launch of Cyclops 1, ending reliance on the stalwart but aging Antipodes. Then came Titan, unveiled in 2018 after years of planning, testing, and acquiring special titanium hull components rated for pressures at 4,000 meters. A wholly novel vehicle built specifically to take tourists repeatedly into the midnight zone over a mile down. No vessel outside Navy ownership had accomplished routine access to such extreme depths before. But the futuristic Cyclops 2, redubbed Titan, now readied to take Stockton Rush's dream and paying participants deeper into the hidden ocean realm than any human eyes had witnessed. Stockton's White Whale, the wreck of Titanic. However, there was a particular underwater location that captivated the mind of OceanGate's creator more than any other: the remains of the RMS Titanic. Submerged at a depth of 2.5 miles since 1912, it fascinated Rush as the ultimate goal for privately funded manned underwater exploration. This site had not been observed by human eyes since a brief encounter in the 1980s. If Titan proves capable of navigating depths beyond 12,500 feet, could its namesake ship soon unveil extraordinary scenes from the collapsed wreckage site? To make the dangerous descent possible, Rush spearheaded plans for a pair of radical new Titan-class Cyclops 3 and 4 submersibles. With crushing depth ceilings of up to 20,000 feet, they aimed to push private manned access into uncharted territory once reserved for only governments. And at this extreme abyss awaited Titanic. Rush now dedicated OceanGate's full resources in a multi-year quest to ready technology, training, and procedures to reach his Mariana-level trophy. The chosen submersible. Once known as Cyclops 2, the Titan submersible operated by OceanGate Inc. had its fair share of drawbacks. This 6.7-meter-long vessel, weighing a hefty 10,432 kilograms, was constructed with a combination of carbon fiber and titanium, presenting a unique set of challenges. The pressure vessel itself consisted of 2 titanium hemispheres and matching titanium interface rings bonded to a carbon fiber wound cylinder. Sounds impressive, right? Well, not so much. The hull, initially designed for depths of 4,000 meters, faced a downgrade to 3,000 meters due to signs of cyclic fatigue in 2020. This led to subsequent repairs and rebuilding in 2020 and 2021. In an attempt to cut costs, OceanGate claimed to have sourced discounted carbon fiber from Boeing, supposedly deemed too old for use in their airplanes. However, Boeing denied any record of such a sale to OceanGate, casting doubts on the submersible's construction. Safety concerns also plagued Titan. OceanGate initially skipped certification, arguing that stringent safety protocols hindered innovation. Lloyd's Register, the Ship Classification Society, declined to classify the vessel in 2019, adding to the list of negatives. Now, let's talk controls. The vessel was steered using a modified Logitech F710 wireless game controller. While using commercial game controllers is common for remote-controlled vehicles, the use of a gaming device on a submersible raised eyebrows. OceanGate boasted about Titan being designed in collaboration with NASA, Boeing, and the University of Washington. However, these collaborators denied any involvement in the project. UW denied involvement in the design, engineering, or testing of Titan, while Boeing and NASA clarified they were not partners. Monitoring systems were supposedly in place to continuously assess the hull's strength, but the disappearance of Titan in 2023 raised questions about the effectiveness of these systems. The vessel did have life support for 5 individuals for 96 hours, yet the lack of GPS underwater raised concerns. Instead, the support ship had to send text messages to provide Titan's position relative to its target. Emergency backup systems were claimed to be present, including ballasts, a balloon, thrusters, and dissolvable sandbags. But the reliability of these mechanisms came into question, with an investor suggesting manual intervention might be needed to ensure a safe ascent. In essence, the Titan submersible, once hailed for its capabilities, faced a barrage of issues and uncertainties, leaving its reputation submerged in a sea of doubts and skepticism. And before long, this Titan would prove to be a letdown, resulting in the tragic loss of several lives, including that of its owner, Stockton Rush.
The U.S. Coast Guard says debris from the Titan has been brought to the surface from the ocean floor.
The debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber.
The arrogance and the hubris that sent that ship to its doom is exactly the same thing that sent those people at that sub to their fate.
Since the Titan operated in international waters and didn't ferry passengers from a port, it dodged safety regulations. The vessel lacked certification from any regulatory body, making it an experimental craft with potential risks acknowledged through a waiver signed by passengers. David Pogue, a reporter who participated in a 2022 expedition, emphasized that waivers' emphasis on potential dangers, mentioning death multiple times.
Sickened or grieving or anything like that. What I don't think the public recognizes is that this is not an airline. These submersibles are one-off. There's no spare, there's no previous version, there's one of it.
In a 2022 interview, Titan creator Rush dismissed safety concerns, stating, "At some point, safety just is pure waste."
You know, at some point, safety just is pure waste. I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed, don't get in your car, don't do anything.
OceanGate claimed Titan featured a real-time health monitoring system patented by Rush, using acoustic sensors to analyze pressure effects and monitor the hull's integrity. However, doubts persisted about its effectiveness. Safety concerns were not new. In 2018, OceanGate's Director of Marine Operations, David Lockridge, raised alarms about Titan's safety, urging assessment and certification. A letter from the Marine Technology Society expressed unanimous concern about the experimental approach, fearing negative outcomes. In 2022, reporter David Pogue was on board when Titan got lost during a dive, questioning its safety. A $30 Logitech game controller was used for steering, and incidents like thrusters installed backward and battery issues added to the growing list of problems. Titan's journey was riddled with safety issues and skepticism, raising doubts about its reliability and suitability for deep-sea exploration. Submarine versus submersible. Before proceeding to the incident, it's important to understand the difference between a submarine and a submersible. Yes, the words sound alike, and I've been throwing around submarine for simplicity, but there's a crucial difference. Submarines have their own power, cruising into the sea and back out on their own. Now, submersibles, on the other hand, can't pull that off solo. They need a helping hand, or in this case, a helping ship. Launching a submersible and getting it back, you're gonna need a support ship for that. And in this wild tale, the puppet master ship was none other than the Polar Prince. The incident. In early 2023, Rush, the CEO, approached Las Vegas businessman Jake Bloom with a tempting deal on 2 tickets for the trip. The offer came at a price tag of $150,000 per seat, a supposed bargain compared to the full $250,000 fare. Rush, in his pitch, assured Bloom that the journey was safer than crossing the street. However, Bloom, not swayed by the discount, turned down the offer, citing safety concerns.
I think his heart was in the right place, and he really was passionate about his project, and he believed everything he was saying. But one of the things that concerned me was he told me he was flying in to see me.
Despite the initial May schedule, the trip got pushed to June due to unfavorable weather conditions. Fast forward to June 16, 2023, the day of departure. The expedition, featuring the research and expedition ship MV Polar Prince, set sail from St. John's, Newfoundland, carrying the Titan and the crew toward Titanic's wreck. The arrival at the dive site on June 17th was met with a post on Facebook by Hamish Harding, one of the occupants, who highlighted the mission's uniqueness due to the worst winter in Newfoundland in 40 years. As the dive operation commenced on June 18th at 9:30 a.m., early communications between Titan and Polar Prince were maintained every 15 minutes. However, the last recorded communication occurred at 11:15 a.m. Initially, it was thought the sub's warning system might have signaled passengers about a potential hull issue, prompting them to make an emergency ascent. Later, a United States Navy system detected a sound indicating an implosion, hours after the sub went underwater. The submersible was expected to resurface at 4:30 p.m. Titan, equipped with up to 96 hours of breathable air supply, would have run out by the morning of June 22nd if it had remained intact. As the clock struck 4:30 p.m. and the Titan failed to resurface, anxiety crept in on the support ship. After a tense wait, the distress call went out to the United States Coast Guard at 7:10 p.m., triggering what can only be described as a high-stakes race against time. The Titan, submerged in the depths, carried only 96 hours worth of oxygen, just 4 days. The countdown had begun, and the pressure was on to locate the passengers before the clock ran out. In typical rescue scenarios, an emergency position indicating radio beacon can be a lifesaver. These beacons help locate vessels swiftly. Unfortunately, the Titan wasn't equipped with one. To make things worse, even if the submersible had surfaced successfully, the people inside were in serious trouble because they were running out of oxygen. The absence of an EPIRB on board made the rescue situation even more difficult, and the submersible's door could only be locked and unlocked from the outside.
The crew closes the hatch from the outside with 17 bolts. There's no other way out.
Yes, you heard it right. Whether submerged or floating on the surface, those inside Titan were trapped. The crew closes the hatch from the outside with 17 bolts. There's no other way out. This revelation made the next 4 days a critical and harrowing period. To intensify matters, the search area spanned a whopping 25,000 kilometers. Imagine locating a van-sized submersible in such an expansive area. The odds were stacked against the rescue operation in this vast and unforgiving underwater maze. Despite the risks, rescue teams took on the challenge. Initially, 2 American and 2 Canadian aircraft, armed with sonar, kick-started the operation to detect signals underwater. 3 ships joined from the surface, and more ships gradually joined the search. Remotely operated vehicles, essentially robotic underwater devices controlled from the surface, were also deployed. 3 ROVs were on a mission to find Titan. After 3 days of intense searching, a breakthrough came on the 3rd day. A sonar from a Canadian aircraft picked up banging noises, occurring at half-hour intervals, like someone knocking on a door. The United States Coast Guard also later confirmed hearing these sounds. Finally, on June 22nd, an ROV scouring the ocean floor stumbled upon scattered debris, approximately 490 meters away from the Titanic's bow. The heartbreaking confirmation. The submersible had shattered, claiming the lives of those inside. Further exploration revealed a total of 5 debris pieces. In a press conference on the same day, the U.S. Coast Guard clarified that the banging noises they heard were unrelated to the Titan submersible. The grim conclusion pointed to Titan's implosion under intense pressure as the cause of the tragic incident. Let's talk a little more about implosions. I know when you hear that word, your first thought is probably exploding inward, but it's actually more complex than that. An implosion happens when an object gets crushed or collapses rapidly due to pressure difference, usually from the outside in. The force moves inward, the opposite of an explosion where the force bursts out. A catastrophic implosion, like what happened with the Titan, means the implosion occurred so fast the entire vessel was destroyed in the blink of an eye. We're talking less than a millisecond here, faster than the brain can process information. So fast, the poor souls inside likely felt nothing as they died. Experts concluded that there wouldn't have been any warning or pain for the victims. They would have died with their bodies crushed along with the vessel's hull. So, what caused this tragic implosion event? Well, the Titan's central frame was made of carbon fiber instead of the usual materials like steel or titanium. Turns out, no one had really tested how carbon fiber holds up under the extreme pressure in the deep ocean depths before. I guess we know now it does not handle it well. The material failed spectacularly and instantaneously. According to ocean explorer Robert Ballard, the man who discovered the Titanic wreck in 1985, they've undertaken thousands of dives using various vehicles to explore the ocean depths. However, they had never lost a vehicle until this incident. It marked the first time a submarine or submersible had imploded in such a manner. Even James Cameron, the director of blockbuster films like Titanic and Avatar, who has ventured into the deep sea multiple times, echoes this sentiment. While the titanium caps remained intact on the sea floor, the main body of the Titan, made of carbon fiber, now lies scattered in pieces. Cameron strongly criticizes Titan, citing a lack of adherence to safety regulations.
OceanGate shouldn't have been doing what it was doing. I think that's pretty clear. I wish I had been more vocal about that, but I think I was unaware that they weren't certified.
Back in 2018, a former employee named David Lockridge was allegedly working on a report highlighting potential dangers with the Titan's experimental carbon fiber design when he was suddenly fired. His lawyer described it as retaliation for blowing the whistle. Lockridge wasn't alone in his worries. That same year, some 40 marine exploration bigwigs sent OceanGate a letter outlining issues with the Titan's safety testing procedures. They warned that attempts to dive the unproven vessel so deep could lead to outcomes ranging from minor to catastrophic. Their main bone was with OceanGate's CEO and head honcho Stockton Rush, who piloted the doomed Titan dive. They accused him of dodging proper inspections and certifications while misleadingly promoting the expedition as safe. So, plenty of red flags it seems. Yet OceanGate never publicly addressed them, instead calling those lost true explorers with a distinct spirit of adventure. But many are seeing this as a preventable tragedy born of arrogance and oversight. What do you think? Should OceanGate be held accountable here, or was this just an unforeseeable accident? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to stay updated and not miss out on any revelations we unveil in the future. Thanks for watching, and until next time.